Hello and welcome to another installment of Connect with Carla B. Today, this time, I'm sitting, let's just say on leather chairs. Let's say that. Sitting on leather chairs in a nice air-conditioned space outside of La Teresita in Tampa. So if you know I said that, that means that I have a whole bag full of sweet treats. Especially I had to go in and ask for something with guava in it, and I couldn't come without getting tres leches, and they had the churros, and I love the grilled cheese. So, I'm a bad girl when it comes to that type of stuff, but culture is so important to me. And so whenever I get to have a fill of culture, I get excited, overly excited, so I OD on culture. So, and our guest is also, that's coffee. We know I'm a big tea drinker, but the coffee is all that. But my guest is also someone that celebrates culture, heritage, but primarily me watching from a distance and up close, she embraces economic development for the Black community. And if I say I'm in Tampa and I'm saying she, I could do one more better for you. And I said economic development. If you're from our area, you would know it's, it just came to me who I'm going to ask her to introduce herself. I was like, she's such an icon for me that I was going to even have her just introduce herself the way she would introduce, but I got one better because for our area, this is who she is. She's someone I admire and look up to. And she is the founder of the Black Business Bus Tour. So from our side of the Bay, y'all know I'm South St. Pete centric, but this woman shines a light so bright coming from Tampa, all around our area that you can't miss her. And so, without further ado, she's sweet like candy. That's a joke. So, the most gorgeous, knowledgeable, wise woman, Miss Candy Lowe. Welcome, Candy.
Why, thank you, Carla. Oh my, that really filled my heart. Just filled my heart. Because you never know who's watching. You never know who may be peeking in the window to see what you're really doing. Yes. So, that was touching. Thank you.
Yes, you're a down-to-earth sister. So we have that in common. So if I just figured out who it was, I was going to have you introduce yourself to us. What would you want the listeners to know about you as if the Oprah Winfrey herself was introducing you? How would you introduce yourself if Oprah Winfrey was introducing you?
I would like to introduce to you a strong, stand on her square, believe in others, no matter what. Believe in supporting our Black-owned businesses, circulating our dollars, and making sure that we bring awareness to our communities, our business owners. She definitely knows how to educate the community on how to spend that green. She's a matter of fact. She's loving and kind. She has a bite though. She loves sharing wise and wisdom, which was mentioned earlier. She stands on that. And I have to mention, she loves her grandson. He's so special to her. I would definitely like everyone to know, before I bring her out, she's an artist. She is divine. She is spiritually seated at the foot of the Creator.
And she has a phenomenal knowledge of self, because that introduction shows that. And she's also, so I see how she skipped over wife, mother, um, probably sister, daughter, auntie, and probably like me and many others, mother to more than just those that we birth. Um, and then mother in the sense of just things that she has been able to birth in our community. And I would also add champion, because you can't get to do what she does here, in our area without being a champion, um, for us, for our people. Which, when she says, "I stand on my square," it means that, it's to take it to the bank. This is who I am. It's not going to bounce on you, because it is, in the words of, someone I interviewed recently, Kenneth T. Welch. She's real. So when you're real, you don't show up differently tomorrow than you do today. It's the same. You're learning aspects of a person, but is the person. So just take it in. So why did you decide, or what was the inspiration behind you deciding to start the Black Business Bus Tour?
Well, Carla, during that time, I owned a tea shop, and that's TEA, tea shop in the city. I opened the tea shop in 2003. I was at that time working at the hospital as a nurse.
What's the name of the tea shop? What was
Candy Lowe Tea Time.
Do you know what's hilarious is that since I was a little girl, I've been I was born in Guyana, and so I grew up. Every sibling of mine had chocolate, everything else. Carla Bristol tea, Bush tea. My favorite was a tea called Sweet Broom tea, and every day I would drink Sweet Broom tea because I could pick the leaves, boil it, and make my own tea. So I always thought I would open up a tea shop. So I have tea sisters. I love tea rooms. So that's beautiful. I'm trying to see, did I know that about you? I don't think I knew that about you, but that endears me to you even more.
Yeah, opened the tea shop in 2003 in the historic Harbor Club in Seminole Heights. Actually, it's Sulphur Springs area. Once you cross the river, it's Seminole Heights. And had a strong, courageous woman that believed in me and gave me a chance. She owned the space and allowed me to come in and open the shop. And the first few years, only going through a few receipt books every quarter.
Right.
And was at every networking event that was going on in the city. It was nothing that was going on that was growing our businesses or bringing awareness to other business owners that I was not at during that time. And I was at a networking event, and there was a guy there, and he owned a motor coach bus, and we got to talking, and kind of spinned off from that. If we can get this motor coach bus and put people on that bus, I want to start it at the Harbor Club. I want to have some vendors there, because we were already having vendors at the Harbor Club. We were having book clubs at the Harbor Club. There was a restaurant at the Harbor Club at that time, and there was a barber shop there. Restaurant, barber shop, and my shop, only 3 at that time. And getting people on the bus, convincing people that we're going to take you on a bus, a motor coach bus, bus with air conditioning, fine bus, something you may not have ever experienced. And we're going to go out and and we're going to shop with Black-owned businesses.
Mm.
We're going to return back. The vendors would be there. At that time, right out the gate, we had 25 vendors.
Wow.
Way back in 2006.
Oh.
We started the bus tour in June of 2006. And bus would come back. 50 people get off the bus. And that last ride into coming back to the Harbor Club, we would get them hyped up on the bus. Because you're going to come back and you're going to have tea.
Oh, okay.
We have red tea, rooibos tea, white tea, which is my favorite. At that time, I had like 25 different teas on the shelf. And I blend teas as well. Tea pots, tea presses, anything that you thought you wanted related to tea was in the tea shop. So it was like Christmas.
Yes.
Every third Saturday of the month. For almost 3 years.
Wow.
Once we started doing it on a regular basis, the vendors that was coming on a regular basis, they started believing more in themselves that they could possibly open up a shop too.
So they went from Papa Tent to brick and mortar
inside the Harbor Club.
Oh, wow.
We had Simply Elegant. She opened up in there. At a Christian bookstore that opened up in there. She was a vendor.
Right.
Month after month after month of being a vendor. Started believing in themselves. Being in the right circle of people that was talking that same language, doing that same type of stuff.
Right.
We had a accessory store, beads and bracelets and necklaces and charms. She opened up. Then we already had the restaurant. Then we had a lady that opened up bingo in the back. So it was an amazing experience. And it had gotten to the point that the Harbor Club started just booming and blossoming. Everyone was talking about now the Harbor Club that sat on the river, Hillsborough River.
Oh, wow.
You can look out the back windows at the restaurant. Sometimes we would have one of the areas would be open. And you could see the manatees come up right up to the window. So it was a hub for us. The Black Business Bus Tour during that time, it was the engine. It was the chamber. It was, at that time to present, making a difference.
Yeah, action,
with those
measurable, results driven.
Without a doubt. And I want to mention, starting out the first few years, going out, riding around the city, looking for them. Not knowing, just by the marquee, just by the little small signs out front. If the sign looked like it could be. Yeah, it could be. I would just ride up, pull in, go in, and is this a Black-owned business?
Right.
Just like that. And the majority of the time, it was. Now in 2023, I don't have to look for the businesses. Yeah. We put it out on our social media platforms, our local newspapers, and the business owners call, and we're set normally. We've been up to 6 motor coach buses before the pandemic. At one time, we were kind of solid at 4 for quite some time. Then we grew to 5, 6 buses. Each bus go out to 4 Black owned businesses. Get off the bus, go in with the intention
Yes.
of buying, purchasing,
So yeah.
bringing awareness, taking pictures to share with others.
Right.
So it has been a tool, it has been an arm, it has been an umbrella, it has been an embracement, it has been a solid staple for our Black businesses, our community. I don't want to say anymore just for our Black community in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes.
Because we have all races that participate and get on those buses.
Yeah, I've seen the photos. So yes, there is all shades on the bus. And I mean, and as it should be, right? Because if we acknowledge that we're not starting from the same starting point and that we need the additional support, and if people who truly understand what race equity and equity means, then they will say, well, you know what? This is an intentional way that I could spend my dollar to ensure that I'm infusing the capital that I know these Black businesses, more likely than not, are able to go to a bank and get. So we become the bank, and we show with our dollars that we believe in you. Keep going, sis, because we do it for every other major department store. We do it to keep Elon Musk going up far and away. So if we learn, like I can't help but sit here and think about, this year is my 10th anniversary for Kwanzaa, for the first year of Kwanzaa celebration. This embodies the principles of Kwanzaa, and if we learn better how to embrace this model, because it's really was the model before desegregation. So before desegregation, quite frankly, we were not able to go out and shop with others. But guess what? We always had the good stuff that people wanted to come in and get. We always had the best tailors. So the best clothes, the best dressmakers, the best, hairstyles, and people want to come to the music, the everything. So you're kind of saying, girl, sit tight. I'm going to bring people to you. And then, so like the way I'm envisioning, it's like, just take the day off and come hang out with us. And like, so what I don't get is it's clearly not a personal financial gain for you, because I know this, because the ticket's only $20 to get on the bus. You are deliberately, intentionally making it so accessible that anyone could get on and have money to spend with folks. I was surprised that it was only $20, because I can't get on a bus and go nowhere these days. Not a coach type bus to sit. So like I could tell that that's not what's driving you. Where were you born? Where were you born and raised?
Born here in Tampa, Florida, that I love so much. I love the culture. I love the diversity. I love the weather, in spite of it's been so hot.
Yes, it has.
Love getting in your car and you're right at the waterfront. Love watching the sunset in the space that we live. Tampa.
So you were born. Where were your parents from?
My mom is from Columbus, Georgia, and my dad, I'm just gonna say Carolina.
Because you have like a unique Southern accent. When I listen to you, and I've listened to your tea talk when you're up late, I'm like, she worse than me. I'm up working. She's up live stirring the tea and sharing with us. So I was curious. I was curious about that, because like the thought that came to me is that you get to sit at tables And you get to be a voice for so many who may not be able to sit at that table. So you're doing a tremendous amount of advocacy on behalf of small businesses, minority-owned small businesses here in Hillsborough. Did you ever think, first of all, do you have any political aspirations? Let's start with that, because I'm sure people have pressed you for years.
I've gotten that. I've gotten that question for about 15 years now.
I believe it.
Yeah, 15 years. In there's aspiration. In there is aspiration. I think sometimes when I want to say yes, honestly, would they want a Candy Lowe at the table?
They say we need it though, because I get asked all the time, and I say, for me, I say this. I feel personally that I'm able to impact change without having the title, right? I'm able to be unbossed and unbought because I don't have to accept your contributions to advocate. I also have the freedom that I feel personally may be restricted. And so those are some of the reasons why I have not. And I've always said, ask me after my daughter graduates high school. Well, guess what? She just graduated high school, and now I'm a parent of my parents. So now I'm raising my dad. And so now it's, right? But for you, when you toy with it, because let me tell you, if you were the candidate here in Hillsborough, South St. Pete centric, Carla Bristol would be here in Hillsborough doing everything possible, because I would know, similar to how I feel about Brother John being on council, right? These are the people that I've been in the trenches with, that I have watched demonstrate what we want for our community and not afraid to say it. So I would be like your number one supporter across the bay driving back and forth. So I'm just saying, if that's something you're thinking about, my whole thing is having the social capital to be able to support those who aspire to do.
Yes.
And not sitting silent. I don't have that option to sit silent, because we need to do. We can't keep repeating the same cycles. And I know they say history repeats itself, but I mean, I for one am tired. I for one acknowledge that we could do this differently. But we know when we see things happening that we are missing from the table, we're missing from the room. That's why we are not being accounted for in a way that we could be. So I would support that.
I like that smile.
The question would be, what does your family say? Is your husband willing to share you? Because this is a next level of sharing.
Well, and let me say, I've been, actually March will be 2 years. We've been married. First time being married on my end. And it's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
Tell me the love story. Tell me the love, because you know why? It's I've never been married.
Yeah.
I've chosen. It's been a choice.
Well, Carla, I think I stopped thinking about it. I absolutely stopped thinking about it and started working harder. Just focusing on what I was doing and did not turn to look at anyone.
Right.
And COVID came. COVID said, listen, you're going to sit down and I got something coming.
Okay.
So I sat down and there it came. And I was not at that point running and doing for everyone else.
Yeah.
I was not doing that. So it was easy to see it and know that it was real and know that it was for me. It was for me. And timing, I believe, is everything.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think the support, because we support one another now in a way that sometimes it's just like, wow, he's a professional, former professional football player, and I've been an entrepreneur since 2003. He's an entrepreneur as well now with his marketing company, sports marketing. And yeah, support without a doubt. When I want to do that, I don't know right yet. I don't know right yet. But I know that when the time comes, because I've seen in the past, people think, that's with a real heavy TH, with a real strong K on the end. Folk would be there to support them.
Yeah, it's true.
And because I'm aware of that, you have to line your ducks up in order.
Yes.
Way before before you decide to do that, and then move forward. I think a lot of people jump in and don't do that strong confirmation.
Facts.
It's not done. And there's a lot of pain throughout the race.
Yes.
And they have to carry that. And it's strong. And I've watched many people with heartache because they thought this person was for them. And in the end, once the race is over, a lot of people aren't able to mend back.
Right.
I don't want that. So once I ever decide, I want to do my homework first.
Right.
I want to get the right folk on board first, and then move forward and win that race.
The facts. Because, well, I think, so my thing has always been also, some of these races, you're talking about $80,000 to $120,000, right? So my thing is, if I had $80,000 to $100,000, I, Carla Bristol, would go feed the community. Carla Bristol would. So I can't see that. So my strategy would be so different. And it would be based on, and I would think the same thing of you. You have built so many connections and relationships that, you're a household name and you're not an elected official. And I think you are already 10 paces ahead of people as a result of that, because you have a proven track record for action. Right? So we're not starting at the same starting point that other people who wake up and say, I decide I want to run. We're already doing the work. We're already familiar with political process. We're already actively supporting people that we believe have the best interest of our community at heart. So, we jump in different than everyone else. I think the thing that most people, I think that was a good point you raised, but my thinking is, if you're sure for yourself, then what someone else does or doesn't do doesn't make or break your decision, because you're already entering knowing that this is going to come, because that's just the nature of the beast, right? So you're just, and the key thing is the whole adage, what is for me is for me. And therefore, that's how I'm able to move how I move. I'm going to let you move how you move, but I'm able to move how I move, because what is for me is for me and only for me. So you couldn't snatch. The more money can't take it, right? The other types of it's not, because it's already for me. And then what I'm learning is, as I do this whole idea of the importance of connections, that many times we don't even know the experiences that people have had with us that has benefited us at a time we didn't even know, because they know who we are. I keep hearing the same thing. oh, it's like you've always been here, Carla. I'm like, I moved there in 96. You probably met me after 2014. But people feel like, oh, because I've planted myself in my community in that way. And that's how I feel about you. That's why I asked you, where are you from? Because you have a similar passion that just cuts right through, like we could see it for this community. When you were little, what were you thinking you really wanted to do?
I wanted to be a meteorologist. I love weather. I talk about weather all the time. I know what time the sun's gonna set.
Really?
Oh yeah. I've always been into that. But you know, being young and not knowing exactly, and listening to others, you just go down these paths, and then you wake up when you're 40 and say, you know, woulda, shoulda, coulda. That thing just pops right up. But I'm happy where I am.
That's beautiful. Because that's what I would say. Well, I used to ask women in particular. I used to have something called Success Brunch for Women. And I would have it in my house. And it was only one question I would ask women. What would you rather be doing? Because I acknowledge as women, life occurs differently for us. And when we have children, some of us change directions, because the Carla that would have walked out of a job because somebody spoke to me in a way that's just not acceptable is not the Carla who's a mother that has those I call myself my kids' insurance policy. That's why I want to jump out of a plane. But I said, my daughter got to be 18 or something before I would. Certain things I just wouldn't do because I'm a mother. You said you're right where you're happy where you are.
Absolutely. I am full circle with my life. I will be 60 in November.
November what?
11.
That's my sister's birthday.
11/11 is my day. So there is nothing that I want to go back and tweak at all. I just want to take the rest of it and show off. I just want to show off and let my hair down if I want, put it up if I want. Who cares what anybody? I don't give a hootney what anybody thinks. And just live, because if the pandemic, let me tell you, this is what it really taught me, and I say it quite often on my lives. We are here today and gone today.
Today, yeah, you blink.
Today.
Yeah.
I have listened to so many friends and relatives that didn't make it. From 20 to 22, did not make it. So if the milk spills on the floor, we're going to dance in it, and then we're going to mop it up.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It is okay. And the patience that I have inquired at 59 and 60 in November, I'm just going to keep on enjoying all this patience that I have mastered.
And that used to be the thing I would say. I lack patience. And then as I matured, I realized it's tolerance that I lack. So we're 5 years apart. I turned 55 on December 1st. And likewise, I feel good. I was at a store. I heard somebody say, "Oh, and I'm going to be 50." I turned around and I said, "Man, I feel good. I feel good because I don't have the regrets of some. I didn't stay on the baby bottom, which is what I call corporate America. I decided to do what I'd rather be doing so that I wouldn't be 70, 80, talking about what I woulda, coulda, shoulda. And especially because I wanted my children, especially my daughter, to see that just working hard and then gaining those accolades and all that stuff and having the money, like that is for me, not for all, but for me, that's not life. That's existing. Life is purpose filled. And so when I'm able, like this morning, to see some kids walking past and say, hey, what time are you supposed to be at school? All right, well, if you have time, come over here real quick. Let me get you some snacks. And make sure your priority is to be to school on time. Corporate Carla didn't have time for that. I was either getting ready for a meeting, getting proposals ready, all of that. But now my children are able to see the importance of involvement in your community, because we cannot look outside. We have to look within. And I firmly believe we have everything. We have all the talents here. We're just either not talking to each other enough. People, there's one thing I say: open your mouth, because a closed mouth don't get fed. But if you don't have a job, you better tell everybody that you come in contact with, I don't have a job. And guess what they're going to do? They probably know 2 other people that's looking for somebody with a skill set that you have. We have to become better at networking, and lending that hand up. And so I don't care what it is that you do, you are important and you're valuable in that setting and in so many others. And I think we miss that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. I definitely agree. I agree with talking and sharing and being about, which we lack a little. I don't ever want to say a lot, because we come from a mighty place. So sharing is so important. If we can get more circles of organizations that are knowledge driven, we can rise up even more. And I just believe in sharing. I know what I have in me, sharing with young ladies, older ladies.
Yes.
Because older ladies may not have it all either.
Yes. Facts.
We say we need to educate the young folk, because young folk don't know.
Right.
But I meet a lot of folk my age and older still trying to tweak it and don't have it all either. Right. Which is okay.
Yes.
But being in those spaces to share, and with going back to the pandemic, we have so many social media platforms. We have so many streaming devices. We have all things. We have all the things, as Margaret B. Bellotti would say to me, that we could share. Just like the way we're sharing, and being able to take something from this conversation. How do I use it with my children, my family, or my girlfriends, my guy friends? How do you take some of that, stir it up, and just lay it out like that? Just lay it out,
They call it stew. I made a joke that my dad told me. I try to cook for my dad whenever possible, especially to provide some sense of home. And I cooked him a stew the other day with chicken and mixed vegetables, and then I gave it to him, and I said, Dad, do you like it? And he said, it's good, but the sauce runny. So I said, okay, you're right. So then I took cassava that I had made for him for breakfast, and I put the cassava in the stew, and then now it really thickened. He said it already had all the flavors. He just needed it to be thicker. And so once I did that, then it became what was palatable for him. So sometimes we got all the right ingredients. It's just how we are putting it together. But we're together, and so, you know, I started a Black Arts Festival, and now you have an endeavor where you have art. Tell us about your art endeavor. I think it's an online art store.
Oh, thank you for that.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, I started painting and drawing when I was in high school, King High School, and just fell in love with it. I would pick it up, lay it back down, pick it up, lay it back down. I know you being artists, creative minds have to have the right time.
Yes.
It has to have the right space. You have to mentally be there.
Yeah.
And so I've had some, you know, peaks and valleys in life where you know, I just had to put it in the closet and bring it out every now and then.
Yes.
But I would always peek in the door, just open it up a little bit, and I never forgot it. So when I opened up the tea shop in 03 again, as time went on, I opened the door up wider and wider and started bringing out the canvases and the paint brushes and the oil paintings, oil tubes. And
Self-taught?
Yeah, self-taught, but had a little, you know, art. Yeah. And then I had a really, really well-known artist in our city, Ron Watson. He taught me a number of things over the years. When I had the tea shop, we would have art classes during the summer for the children. We did that a few years. So I would paint in the shop, in the tea shop. Have my everything, all the equipment and all the paint, and dressed up in my painter's top and paint and have the paintings throughout the shop. Okay. I would literally sell them throughout the shop. Wow. Right off the wall. Yeah, right off the wall. So I love colors. I love bright oranges, yellows, and blending. And one of my signature pieces is my tall girls on canvas. A number of people throughout the Bay Area has my tall girls on canvas. So that is that wow, that is that, I gotta say it again, that's that wow space. Artists are creative people. They are people that manifest, because being able to sit down in front of paper, canvas,
something that's blank,
wood, you know, a tree, and carve it, and is connected. Yes, you're connected. Yes, that's why I can walk out at night when I know it's a full moon, and I could just gaze at it and bring it in and bring it out, and see the shadows. And so I love art. I love art, and I love I love people that love art. I can go in an art gallery, which my husband and I were in Atlanta a few months ago, and we went in several art galleries, and I could just stand there and turn my head to the right, and turn it to the left, turn it back. You know, you can just from top to bottom, just melt my spirit in it. You know, and you can just see things, and he just walks right by. Right. Yeah. Do you struggle when you create a piece to release that piece to absolute strangers that want to purchase it? When I started. Yes. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Those were your babies. But let me tell you, this is one thing that artist Ron Watson said to me. If you create it once, you can create it again. That is the beauty of knowing how to do something. Yeah. So that's when I was able to release. But prior to that, folk would come in and look. I would think, oh God, don't stop there. Don't
buy that one.
Right. So it got to the point that I was able to release them all. Whatever anyone wanted, I sold it, commissioned, and felt good about it.
What about knowing when it's time to walk away from a piece? Meaning, you know, okay, I have to stop. I don't need to keep investing time into this piece. This is where, and releasing it to move on to the next.
Now, you know that's the hardest part.
I know. That's why I have to ask. How do you navigate that?
That is the hardest part. And, you know, I love oil painting because oil painting is forgiving. You could just move it. You can glide it. Because it's still wet tomorrow. It's wet 3 days later. So if I walk by it and I just want to stroke a yellow, you know, if I want to just mix that blue right up into that orange and just bring it down and wow, I can do that for 4 or 5 days.
Yes.
So stopping sometime is just, you know what, listen, Candy Lowe, you gotta stop.
Right.
I have to literally make myself stop. You're right. You're right, because I want to put some more on it. I see that spot right there. She may need a little bit more right there, just a tad. Oh yeah.
Do you know, I'm looking at you and I'm sitting here being present with you, and I feel so full. I feel like more of this is needed in my life. More women need this type of time that we're spending together, especially creatives, because more often what we see than not is, especially lights like yours, we see people being envious of the light and not knowing that light has its own lane, and that light could help you so much if you would just stop being envious of the light and recognize that whether that light moves all the way up or all the way to the left or the right, that is not impacting you. Focus on how you develop and grow your light, and stop looking at what Carla's doing or what Candy's doing. And if you're going to do anything, just celebrate what they're doing. So I celebrate you. I celebrate this time we're able to spend together, and that you're able to take away from your honeymoon phase of the beautiful relationship that you have.
You're spot on.
to be with me for this moment, but it was necessary, and the timing is divine. So I'm grateful, and I'm hopeful that we left everyone with a few bits and bytes and the desire to learn more about Candy Lowe, and hopefully when we in the future see Candy Lowe for however you want to finish that sentence, we say that's a woman that we stand beside, with, behind, and uplift. So even if the way I say it is, you know, some people, everybody's always looking for positioning. I've known her the longest. She's my sister, she's my mother, she's my this. And sometimes some of the most meaningful relationships that you have are not the oldest relationships, because you're always evolving, and it's the person who's accepting where you are when they meet you. So I'm glad that we have connected, and I'm glad that we had a chance to connect today. And I trust we've left everyone with a few bits and bytes to chew on. Until next time.